All right. Can y'all hear me? I think y'all can hear me. And I hope everything looks good. Look, I'm going live from my desktop. I've never done this before. I'm not on YouTube, so this is interesting. Actually, I don't think I've gone live on even on Facebook or Instagram on desktop, so this will be interesting. I'm going to give a moment to allow people to come in. Please feel free to join me. My name is Leo. I'm a life coach. I'm a business mentor. I am a new family support specialist. I got all different type of titles. But today I just want to kind of talk to you guys about um, it's a there's this topic that's been coming up multiple times in different conversations that I've been having, just with friends, families, families that I'm helping and supporting. All these different conversations that I'm having is the same theme that keeps coming up. I'm gonna just warn y'all ahead of time because Chi Chi is here moving my computer, and she might pop her head in the window. So just be prepared for that. Uh, or if you hear something, that's her shaking the light right there. It's not an angel. It's a little black angel, I guess you could call her, but yeah. Yeah, there she goes. Anyways, yeah, she'll probably be popping in and out. So just to let you guys know, this is Chi Chi. Her name is Conchi, but we call her Chi Chi. And she just wants to know what's happening. Her little nosy tail. So, anyways, um, before I get all up into it, make sure you guys, if this is the first time you're seeing me, if this is the first time you're attending this, make sure you like, subscribe, you know, join the community over here. We're always talking about self identity, mindset, business. That's all about Leo the Lion LLC over here. I want to help you to grow in your mindset, grow in your belief systems, so that you're able to start that business that you've been thinking about forever, but so that you're able to have the confidence to do the things that you truly desire to do, so that you're able to see yourself from a higher perspective, a better point of view than what you've known yourself to be, than what other people may have labeled you as. So you can see yourself as how God sees you, you know. And so I'm just super excited we get into this. And I really would like to engage with you all as much as possible. So as you're coming in, make sure you comment too. I love to see your comments and, like I said, engage. But anyways, on with the topic. So I've been having these conversations with people, um, and the conversations are consistent about, you know, where we are with our belief in our faith. And I've had a lot of people tell me, I believe in God, I love God, but I don't really trust the church. And I can relate to that. And I want to know how many of you can also relate to that. I remember there's a period of time in my life where I was completely like against religion in the church. There's a point in time in my life where I didn't have the belief at all. I actually had zero faith, zero belief. I thought that God was dead. And through my journey, through my experiences, I've been proven wrong. And so I want to hear all your experiences, your journeys too, and see how things have unfold for you also. Um, for me, Chi stop. And so, yeah, so for me, it was like, girl, you finna stop testing me. We're not doing this right now. We're not doing this right now. You're gonna get down. So, anyways, so for me, like, um, that took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of trust for me to be able to see the work of the Lord, angels, the spiritual realm, and I tapped in through spirituality. And so I know a lot of times for me, I will say, I'm not really get down. She stabbed me with her claws. I don't know if I made a face, but if I did, it was a worthy face because she stabbed me. She stabbed me. Anyways, so like when I have these conversations with people, a lot of times I'll share with them like for me, I don't really consider myself as Christian, or I've just now taken on that term as a believer. But really, what I like to say is I'm a spiritual person with a Christ foundation. And I remember earlier this week, I was watching a video, like a video clip, and it was Ariana Grande being interviewed. And she was saying how she grew up as a Catholic, with the Pope, and, you know, she grew up with the religion, but there was just so many different things that she didn't agree with. And she realized like the Pope was against uh, like homosexuals, against women. And she's like, "Ah, I can't do this, I can't do it." And so she ended up just calling herself a spiritual person. And I think a lot of us, I want to hear from a crowd of people, different people. I want to hear from what everybody else's experiences are. So, excuse me, if you care to join and comment, leave your comment down into the description. I'm actually, hold on one second, y'all. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me just. Another day. It's ridiculous. Well, that's an unflattering photo. Oh man. Yeah, I'm excited because look, okay, I'm just looking at my face. It's still not, the way I appreciate it to be. But it is getting better. Like my eczema, I have, so some of you might not know, I have eczema on my face, and it gets worse. Like right here, you can see this is the darkest spot. But I also have it under my neck right here, and I have some on my chest, and then sometimes it's on my back, like right along the spine. And on the back it's not so bad. On the chest, it really depends on the season and the time. But for my face, specifically during the winter and spring transition, I don't know if it's the air is dry or if it's just because things are starting to come back to life. There's something in the air. I don't know what it is, y'all, but like my face, the reaction, this happens every year. This year was the worst, honestly, but the reaction on my face is like it gets dry, and then the skin. the skin cells don't like to fall off. And so it just looks like dead skin all over my face. And usually it's just down here, but this year it was like the eczema was so bad, and it was painful. It was like a full week where I was washing my face and trying to find different moisturizers because you would think that I'd have appropriate moisturizer, but I'm like, I don't know what to use. I'm using like face mask and oils, and I'm using like facial scrubs, hoping that that'll help to scrub off the dead skin. But I realize it's not the dead skin problem, it's the eczema. Uh, and so that was just making things worse. Yeah, I was using all different type of stuff like I think the company is called Philosophy or Originally, something like that. They have like an acid chemical thing, and I use that on my face, and I use that first before I do anything else because it's acid and it burns. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna do it, and I'm absolutely positive that made things worse. Okay. Uh, and so for like a week straight, like my face was just going through it, and it just didn't look bad, and I didn't feel good. Like in my body, I didn't feel very confident on my face. I still came on here. Well, that was last week. This week, I still came on. I was still not super happy about my face, but I had to do some things. I had to get these messages out, and so I did what I had to do. But yeah, so if anybody deals with eczema, I'm just gonna let you know right now, coconut oil don't do it. Shea butter, whipped shea butter don't do it. If anything, that makes it worse. What has helped me, when I don't have like a dermatologist currently at the moment, and I don't have medicated creamer, and so I've just been looking. So what has helped me, what I found was looking for some kind of thick cream moisturizer that is going to act like a barrier to the skin and keep and hold the moisture in. So what has worked for me is to clean my face, also wash it, and then I've been adding castor oil, and so specifically right here, y'all, because this is where it was the worst. But I've been adding it all over my face because it's the whole face is just like not facing okay. But I've been adding castor oil specifically right here. This is the worst of it. And then I've been sealing that off with Aquaphor. I've seen other people say CeraVe works really well, but I don't have any CeraVe, not at least not the cream. I have a cleanser CeraVe, like a face wash, but I don't have like the cream. So you use what you got. Have some Aquaphor because my tattoos. So and that's been helping a lot. And so I'm just excited now because now my face is still there's still eczema there. You can still see it, but it's getting better. I can physically feel it better on my face. Like it's not as dry as it used to be. And so I'm excited about that. And I'm just excited. Anyways, I went on a whole tangent about my skin. I hope that you understand where I'm coming from with that now. I want to come back and let's bring it back. Bring it back, back, back. Okay. So, um, yeah. So I've been having these conversations, and I like to ask people, just like I said, I like to ask people, like, where are you with your faith? I mean, not, no, where are you in your spiritual journey then? Because I know a lot of people have told me, whether they depend on or they are mostly spiritual or you know or they just believe in God but they don't have like they don't go to church. um and so I like to ask people, where are you with your faith? And uh I like to ask that question because, everybody's in different places with their faith. And honestly, especially like when it comes with spirituality, when you look at excuse me, when you look at like religion, when you look at religion from a broader perspective, beyond just um beyond just like uh your religion, the things that you think that you have to do in order to be qualified to be loved by God, or whatever the case is. When you look at beyond that and you actually look into the spirit of things, and how the spirit of things is what moves the physical, why you have to do these certain things. It's not you do these things and you qualify it. It's the deeper meaning behind what the things mean that you're doing. And so when you look into that, like, you realize that it goes way deeper. It goes way deeper than just the surface level of understanding that I feel a lot of us have gotten just from attending church, sitting in the pews, and listening to the pastor. Um, Listening to the pastor, or, whatever. And so if you feel like this is relatable, I'd love, just comment relatable in the comments down below. And I love to connect. But the real thing why this really motivated me to talk about this. Um, One second, I'm just trying to share this live with y'all, with some people. Okay, so um, so I wanted to talk about this, like, because where was I going? I forgot my train of thought. Um, oh, because I think what, especially when people are talking about, especially when people are saying, like, I believe in God and I love God, but I don't really trust the church anymore, and I have all these bad experiences with the church. Um, I think it's important to address those things, because yes, it's absolutely true, and I believe this wholeheartedly, that you can build a relationship at home with the Lord. And that's actually, I think, how you're supposed to do things. You're supposed to start with a personal relationship rather than go to the church and think that, oh, the pastor is the voice of God, or the church is the voice of God, or whatever, whatever people say. Where like the Lord speaks to you individually, and that's because the Lord lives within you, you know. And so I just wanted to address that and just kind of talk about it real quick. And I'm I'm just going on and on and on, and I'm letting God really lead this right now, because as you see in the titles, I had a different plan on conversation, but this is where we're at right now. So what the Lord want to talk about. And so I think, you know, when it comes down to the identity too, like, there's something important that we have to acknowledge in that, because you think about, uh just like what I said, you go to the church to hear the voice of God, to really see in that that the spiritual perspective, to see how the Lord is active in your life, before you even built that relationship. And it's almost as if you've gotten a false perspective. And so relationship with the Lord is way more important than religion. And you see this repeatedly in the Bible. I'm currently reading the Bible right now. I'm in Numbers. You can say I'm not gotten that far. I've literally started from the beginning. I'm in Numbers now. But out of the few chapters I read, and where I am now, it's been repeated multiple times been repeated on, how to no, it's been repeated on having that relationship before religion, how God values having a relationship with Him before religion, and and that it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary, because you can hear something. Maybe your pastor, your church is saying one thing, and without that relationship built, you know, in your window of perspective and your understanding, it can be completely misleading because maybe the pastor sees things from one perspective because he is put on a pedestal, as you can say. He's put on a pedestal, so he's up higher. His perspective is higher, and your perspective is down lower out of your own personal experiences. So he's talking, he's preaching, da 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 da. What he's saying is saying out to the crowd, and you've got this one little window of what he's saying. So maybe you hear exactly what he's saying. Maybe you listening. Maybe you're not, maybe you are, but because of your perspective, you can only see it from a certain perspective. You can only see it from that point of view. And so where that relationship build comes in is when you start building that relationship with God. Um, the Lord is able to show you things, and open your eyes in different ways that any human cannot do. Not the pastor, not the deacon, not the reverend, or whatever. I don't know all the names. Not the community engagement coordinator. Not all these people. They can speak into your life, absolutely. Um, but only thing that can really change your perspective is your experiences. And so, like, a lot of people, when I've talked, and they're talking about, I don't really like church or I don't trust church, it's because they've had these negative experiences. Um, and like things that I can relate to, things that I'm sure some of you could relate to. Something that was shared with me, a lot of times is not like every time I have this conversation, honestly, is has to do around tithing and money. And I like how um, my pastor at Hope City Racing, how he talks about, tithing, but I'm not going to get into that right now because it's a little irrelevant. But so when people are talking to me about, their experience with church, it's a lot of times like, yeah, I just don't like how they do the tithing stuff. Like they're always, go around, they pass the bucket, and either they're trying to pass the bucket around multiple times, or the things that they say they're going to use that money for, they don't use it for, or um, they're trying to get you. It's almost like manipulative. It's almost manipulative, right? Or at least it seems that way. And it comes off as I know a lot of people experience where church may come off as like they they're engaged with the community, they're sharing the word, but they're expecting the community to give back to the church. And so I think, it's just with that, it's unfortunate because there are a lot of churches, there are plenty of churches out here that have that you go out and you have them negative experiences with, and they are manipulative with with the tithing and stuff. I know one of the things that I've heard many times, many times is oh bless your tithing, you want to tithe and put into the church, and uh, the Lord is going to bless you 10 times full. um, you know which could be true, could also not be true. And I think that is more so when I say it could be true and also could not be true, it's depending on your heart posture. Just because you gave to the church doesn't mean that God's gonna come and bless you 10 times full. If you giving is coming from expectation of receiving. And you think, I'm gonna give da 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 because I expect 3 times fold of what I'm gonna get. I know if I give this amount, I know I may get this much back. You coming from that place of expectation, which okay, I have to reframe that, right? So let me reframe that because positive expectation is important. But like if you're expecting things to look a certain way, a specific way, that's different, right? So for example, if you give, let's say you give $100 and you're like, I know that I'm gonna get 300 back off the bat, you know, excuse me. And then a week goes by and you lost 300 mo instead of gained it. And you're like, well, what the heck? I ain't never giving to the church no more. I got bills that I need to pay. I got this and that and this and that. They want me to pay for things that I can't even afford for myself. You know, that's a different mind space than if you give and be an expectation of, okay, I gave this $100 and I am expecting God to come in my life and work however He's going to work in my life to bless me, you know, and that's going to look different. I don't know how exactly it's going to look, but I just know that because I sowed the seed, the Lord's going to bless me. And so that's a different scenario, right? That's a different scenario. And um so you just gotta know, you know, when it comes down to tithing, that's those are two different things. And so I mean, I'm just saying that because I know a lot of people say, you know, sow into it and the Lord's gonna bless you tenfold. And a lot of people, you know, like I said, based on your window of perspective, you know, it looks different. Maybe you might get blessed, maybe you won't. And really, the determining factor on that is what does your personal relationship look like with the Lord? Not only is it important for those reasons to build that personal relationship, but it really helps to build confidence within yourself. I'm gonna share this with y'all. So, like I said, in the beginning of my spiritual journey, I had no faith at all, none at all. The faith, what was that? Uh, I believed in the universe, in the cards. I believed in, you know, whatever was coming towards me was what I got, what I deserved, and um, I had to build my faith from scratch, you know. And so for me, spirituality was an entryway, um, and it began with, you know, me saying the universe, the cards, um, ancestors, archangels. Well, first it was like different deities, and then it was archangels, and then from archangels, then I got introduced to the Lord, right? Then from the Lord, I got introduced to Jesus, which is, you know, some people might think that no, that's backwards. I don't know. That's how it worked for me. That's how the process worked for me. And it wasn't an overnight process. You know, it took me a long time to even be comfortable saying the word God because I just felt like it was so controversial. Um, and so um, when I did get more involved with, you know, building that personal relationship with God, there was a lot of things that was happening in my life. There was a lot of things happening in my life, and it was like It was like, I think, I shared with you guys a lot of times, I went through homelessness. I was house hopping, sleeping in my car, trying to build a business, this and that, this and that. But really, like, especially, there was a specific period of time. So it was after my breakup. And, I was just trying to figure out how to date again. And I'm dating and I'm realizing that these people that I'm dating, I'm getting the same results. I'm getting the same results, and I'm not happy with these results that I have. And so, um, this at this time, I wasn't attending church. I was just, I was just praying. I wasn't fasting. I was just praying to the Lord every now and then. It wasn't even consistent at that time, um, and I was doing a lot of on my own, trying to figure things out. Um, and I remember I just had this moment of surrender. There was multiple times where I had to have moments of surrender, and the Lord was just like, okay, well, I want you to go to this church. I want you to start attending church. And I didn't, you, after bad experiences, you're like, you don't want to go to church. Like, I'd rather just be at home, experiencing the glory of God in my own space, in my own energy. Like, why do I have to go to church? But the Lord said, no, go to church. And so I had to figure out a church to go to. I was led to this church that I attend now. And since I've been there, my journey, my faith journey with God has gone even deeper. And so I say that to say, it's important. It's very extremely important to build that personal relationship with the Lord. And I feel like you should be building that relationship before even trying to look for anything in the church. Like, the church is helpful, no doubt about it. But for one, have me with me having that personal relationship with the Lord before going and attending church, I was led to the right church to go to. Um, Two, if the church ever did something that I disagreed with or I wasn't like a super fan of, um, it wasn't me making decisions out of my emotions, whether, oh, I'm not gonna stay at this church because I don't like how they did this, this, and that. It wasn't me making decisions out of my emotions whether to stay or go from this church. It was me being led by the Spirit and knowing that if I'm here for a reason. And it's not the reason isn't for, anything that I'm disagreeing with. There's a lesson here. There's a lesson here. There's a lesson here, or there's somebody that I'm supposed to be meeting, somebody that I need to have a conversation with, that I'm getting a lesson from, or I'm giving blessings to. Something in that nature. Either I'm getting or receiving. No, either I'm giving or I'm getting. I said that wrong. Either I'm receiving or I'm giving. And so, um, you know, it's just really important. I feel, especially if you're in that place where you're like, I just don't know about, you know, going to church right now. Like, don't let that be a decision that you're making off of your own emotion. Let that be something that the Spirit pulls you and guides you to. Um, so the only way that's going to happen is if you build that relationship with the Lord. If like I said, I wasn't even like super consistent at that time. I wasn't consistent at all. And I just kind of, I would pray when I felt like praying, or pray when I was distressed, or I felt like something wasn't going in my way. This is where I was. I'm telling you guys real life experiences, like, um, you know, and I'm sharing this with you too because I think another thing that I experience a lot when I talk to Christians or religious people, um, especially when I'm talking to Christians, is there's this idea that um, God is perfect, and so we have to be as close to perfect as possible. We're not perfect, but we have to be as close to perfect as possible. And I just truly, truly don't believe that, especially for the simple fact that if you look at the Bible and you read the stories about Jesus, which I haven't gotten completely through, but I know some of the stories, right? So if you look at some of the stories of Jesus, Jesus hung out with the low folks. Jesus was not trying to hang out in the congregation where the people were already saved. Jesus was out there trying to be with the people who needed the saving, people who needed help. And maybe Jesus was perfect. Um, maybe Jesus had no sin and was perfect in that sense. But I don't consider Jesus as perfect because he still was a man with emotions. And in the times, in the hard times, especially at the end when he was in his last hours, he was devastated. He was going through all the emotions, and he still followed through with what he had to do, y'all. But he still cried about it, prayed about it, tried, asked the Lord to take this off his plate, and so in that sense, he wasn't perfect. He didn't just walk through life without having emotion. He wasn't a robot. He was still a human being. And even in the sense of God, y'all, even in the sense of God, because I think about this might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think that God is an all perfect being either. Like he created all of these things because he has this nature of creation. But when he created everything, everything has a polar opposite. Everything was created to be good, not perfect. Everything was created to be good, not perfect. I never see anywhere in the Bible where it says, and God was perfect. I don't see it. I see good. I see good. And so, like, he created polar opposites. There's a positive, there's a negative. We think negative things are bad, and people question how can this kind, loving God be good? And from my understanding of it, and you have to come to your own agreement to that too. Everything that's bad, everything that's negative, isn't bad. And so you just you just got to build that relationship. You have to build that relationship. I was also going to say, when it comes down with God to something that I've seen, that I've read in the Bible is, he's made plenty of mistakes before. I'm going to point out this specific one. Plenty of mistakes where, okay, so when he cast Adam and Eve into death damnation, and it started repopulating generational curses, and all the people. It was a point where all the people in the land, all they thought of was wickedness, and he was so frustrated by the amount of wickedness that ran through the minds of all these people that he decided that he was going to flood the world and kill everything. Everything was dead. It was one man that he was willing to save, and that one man, he was to collect two of each animal, a male and a female. So after that, and once you do that, you built this ark, collect these folks, it's gonna rain, all these people are gonna die. And after that whole process, what did God say? He said, I made this rainbow to represent, or I made this ark in the sky to represent my promise to never flood the earth again. That was him saying, hey, I recognize after the destruction of what I created, I recognize that maybe that wasn't the greatest option for me to do. Maybe that wasn't the right thing that I should have done. But I'm gonna learn from my mistake, and I'm going to choose to do better. And I see this, I don't know how other people see this, but I see this repeated pattern that God does. That was the first time I think I seen it, but I see it again a couple times. Another time that I could think of is when he's talking to Moses, and bless Moses. Okay. When he's talking to Moses, and Moses is up on Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights, right? And God is sitting there and he's talking to Moses and giving them the commandments and the laws and all these things. And he's realizing that the people are down there waiting for Moses. He's taking a little too long. And so they didn't decided to create create a something to worship. And God gets furious at this because that's one of the commandments, don't worship nothing. But before the people could even get this commandment, he gets furious to the point where he's like, I'm about to kill these folks again. Like, I can't do this. Like, I don't understand why it's not clicking in their head not to do stupid ish like this. And they keep doing it. Like, what's wrong with them folks? And Moses had to share with him, Lord, remember your promises that you made to our great grandfathers. How's that look that you brought the people out of Egypt and to the wilderness just so you can kill us all? Like, you know, calm down, make it make sense. And so Moses had to do a little bit of mentoring to the Lord at that moment, and the Lord was able to, okay, take a step back, take a breather, reassess, and make a new decision, just like he promised he would do. And he constantly is. To me, that doesn't sound like a perfect person. If you make mistakes, but it sounds like a good person if you make mistakes and you're able to take the mistakes and may turn it into something positive and learn the lesson from the mistakes. I feel like in that sense, just like that, that's how we are made in the image of God. So this whole idea, I'm going on a little tangent, low key, but this whole idea that people have that, oh, the Lord is perfect. There's no such thing as perfect, not even for God, not even for God, not even for Jesus. I just don't, I'm not subscribing to it. Perfect is not a thing. Good, good is a thing. So I went on a whole tangent. Oh, but I hope that any of this makes sense to anybody. And I hope that it just encourages you, no matter where you are in your faith or your spiritual journey, no matter where you are in your journey, to to realize that the value in building a personal relationship with the spirit, with Jesus, with God, whatever you want to call it at this moment in time, wherever you're at, the value of building that relationship is immense. It's more than what you could get just from building a relationship with any person, because that spiritual relationship is going to guide you exactly where you need to go, guide you exactly to the people that you need to connect with, whether that be connected with people who give you a lesson or connected with people who's giving you a blessing. It's going to guide you to the right places, and know that that guidance, even though it doesn't always feel good, that it is good for your soul. And so that's all I have for today's live. I hope you enjoyed this live if you attended. And, this is a new thing that I'm starting, y'all. I told y'all I'm coming in to 2024 with like newness. I haven't been posting January, February, but it's March now. The springtime is moving, and I'm getting my body moving again too now that the dead is gone. And so we coming with the heat, you know what I mean? Okay, so that's it for now. This is Leah. I love you so much. Um, if you will allow me to pray for you for a minute. So, Lord, thank you so much for being with us and hosting this space, and really just allowing me to conversate your word that you share with me. And hopefully, I said it in plain and simple terms, in a way where, whoever was meant to receive this was able to receive it. And hopefully, I said it in a way that, you know, they was able to receive it fully. Lord, I just want to pray for your people, and ask you to keep your hands covering over them today and moving forward whenever they're seeing this, and throughout their life, to lead and guide them, exactly where you need them to be, and to allow them to open their eyes to see the perspective and learn the lessons that they need to learn so that they're able to reap the blessings that you have for them, so that they're able to reach that land of promises and milk and honey, whatever that may look like for that individual person. Only you know. And so, God, I pray that I pray that you continue doing your work in this land, and I even pray, Lord, that you touch these churches, that may be taking your word and manipulating it for their own selfish agendas, and that you touch these lands, that you touch these churches, and guide them back to your word, to your promises, to your blessings. And if it be not that you move on from those churches, and make it plain and simple for the people that attend those churches to know whether they need to stay or go. Um, Lord, and I just pray, and I just want to thank you again, Lord. Thank you for everything that you are, because without everything that you are, we would not be exactly what we are. I pray for anyone that may be in a dark place, facing adversity, and I pray for that person just to be touched and healed, and know that there's a new brighter season ahead of them in their future, and that you just there's more ahead of them. Um, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So that's all I have for you guys. I love you so much. I love you so much. And I hope to see you. I hope to see more of you in the next live. And we're just going to keep going with this every Friday at 8 p.m. So until next time, y'all, peace out.